Choo-choo, mother truckers. It's your boy Salty. Back at you again with another spicy hot take. Uh, that actually was the only part of this video that I rehearsed. I don't know what to do right now. I am I'm scared and I need an adult. I crap. I am an adult. I think I need a hug. I have to do it myself. That's better. So, what are we talking about today? Are we talking about inflation, student loan forgiveness? Are we talking about climate change or any of the other potentially relevant goings on, current events, what have you? The war in Ukraine, maybe? I don't know. I'm just living my life. Today I'm out hauling around skids full of sacks, full of powder that are used in the doing of something. I don't know. I didn't look that closely. And I'm sure there's a scientist out there that could probably identify the substance I'm currently hauling around, but I am no rocket surgeon, so it cannot be me. Hmm. So my kid, he's 2 years old. The other day, he got upset because I wouldn't let him do something that would be detrimental to his health and safety. So what does he do? Like a sane and rational person, he starts screaming, gets down on his hands and knees, and whacks his head off the floor a couple of times. And then he gets up and he starts crying about it and puts his hand up and says, "Daddy." And I'm like, "What do you want me to do? You knew that would hurt." Whereupon I proceeded to tell him, "Dude, you've only got one head that thinks. Love it. Protect it. Take care of it." I love that boy to death. He is in the process of learning that all actions have consequences. At the moment, he's really only coming to terms with the notion of short-term consequences. He is only 2, so cut him some slack. But it starts early. You touch a hot stove, your hand gets burned. You smack your head off the floor, you get a headache. And I think, unfortunately, that the notion of actions and consequences, or cause and effect, as I learned about in second grade, where was I going with that? Cause and effect. It's a notion that too few people, I fear, are um, deeply in tune with. especially people my age and younger. A lot of them don't realize that the words that you say to the people around you have both short-term and long-term effects. Many of them don't understand that their financial decisions will impact them both in the short term and over the long term. I'm really not entirely certain exactly what the statistics are or how spread out all of this information really is. But there are a lot of people my age and younger that are in way more debt than when we know what to do with. And if I was a betting man, I'd say about 90% of it comes as a result of not looking ahead, not realizing the extent of the effects of our actions, not fully comprehending the ramifications of our poor investments. Should really teach something like that, in public school. Just a thought. Maybe most public schools do, but mine, no, we were kind of on our own. We had to pass an economics class, which taught us how to buy and sell stock, but it wasn't a very good class because I don't remember any of it. Or maybe I just suck at studying. Maybe I should have thought about the consequences of my actions. Now, I graduated high school with a 3.45 GPA. Not to brag. I know how to cross my T's and dot my I's very well, thank you very much. And I did go to college briefly, and then again briefly, and then yet again far too unbriefly. I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. You know, my ambitions for myself weren't career oriented. I didn't really have dreams of prestige or success or accomplishment that had anything to do with career or finance. I just wanted to be happy. I did a couple of semesters at a local community college, got some credits. Did a partial semester at a bigger school in the city near where I live. I stay around the Pittsburgh area, so use your imagination. And I had to withdraw from that one because, like an idiot, I didn't live on campus. I was commuting. Uh, well over an hour commute every day. Um, and then I did a year at a different school, much closer to home. And it was there that I realized that I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing with my life. And I realized that I was only going to college because I was led to believe by so many people that cared about me and so many more people that didn't, that that's what I had to do. I was a child of the 90s. Obviously, I had to go to college. Let me tell you, for myself and myself alone, I cannot recommend this advice to anybody else because I don't know your situation. I only know mine. Quitting school before I accumulated any more student debt was probably one of the smartest financial and academic decisions that I've ever made because I didn't have a direction. I was just throwing money that I didn't have into a hole that I didn't know if it was going to um, earn me any returns. I wanted to go for linguistics. I wanted to go for political science. I wanted to consider going for law. And then I eventually settled on a general liberal arts um, degree that I never got because after that I had my existential crisis and quit school. Now, I had the immeasurable benefit of being born into a family of means. Not any particularly notable affluence, but we were well off. My dad owned the trucking company that I currently work for. I still currently work for him. It's been 12 years now, and they have had their hardships, um, coming in the form of deciding not to take paychecks so that they can continue to pay their guys. Because my parents, unlike many CEOs, understood that their people were their most valuable asset. The consequence of that action is that we have a tight-knit group of people now who know their job, they do it well, they get it done safely, efficiently, and we have a good reputation among our customers. For the first while, I just worked on the trucks. I was trained, um, and I learned so many things. Not just mechanical, but economical. I not only did the wrenching, I did some office work, I did errand work. I would go out on the road and do road calls. I learned about what it takes to really run the business. And I learned a lot about the wider reach of the trucking industry at large. And that's all because I quit school. Again, can't recommend that for everybody. The only thing I can recommend is that if you do not have a clear decision with a clear goal and clear objectives to meet that goal, you should not be putting yourself in debt in pursuit of it. That is bad policy. Now, I didn't necessarily come here to talk about finance and college and careers. I came here to talk about actions and consequences. That's something that I deal with on a daily basis. There are so many people out there with driver's licenses that don't deserve them. I tell you what, seeing the world from my perspective, from up here, sometimes it's amusing, sometimes it's baffling, sometimes it's downright infuriating how few people understand the actions of the consequences of their actions, rather. I see so many people suffering from what I call white-tailed deer syndrome. If you're from sunny southwest Pennsylvania, like I am, you'll know exactly what that means. For those of you that don't know, white-tailed deer are incredibly stupid. They see a large 3,000-pound, sometimes 80,000-pound death machine barreling towards them in their the path that they're taking to their destination, and they just decide maybe I shouldn't wait for this object to pass me. I should just barrel right out in front of it and hope for the best. I don't know. There must be a lot of hopeful people out there, or rather, they got more hope than sense. Or maybe they don't think deeply enough about it to hope that I will hit my brakes in time, or that I don't have so much weight on that I won't be able to stop from turning them into street pizza. Had a guy cut me off earlier and then flip me off like it was my fault. I have two responses to that type of a situation. If I'm feeling humorous, I'll smile and wave. And if not, I will give them a judgmental, disapproving thumbs down. I don't engage in vulgar hand gestures. It doesn't accomplish anything. But I like to feel like a well-placed thumbs down hurts more. So what is the consequence of the action currently being taken by the Biden administration in regards to the long-term effects of student loan forgiveness? Personally, I'm all for it. But the only reason I'm all for it is because the government should never have been in charge of giving student loans to anybody anyway. It's my opinion. At least not predatory loans with interest rates. It's not the government's lane, man. That is not their lane. Now, you can make the argument that it is in the government's interest to ensure that more people go to college, because with more people attending universities and getting more educated, obviously that benefits society as a whole. And I am for that. I am for people having easy access to quality education at affordable prices. I am for more educated people filling society and benefiting society as a whole because of their education. I am for that. Believe me. Please believe me. I know so many people in academia that have made good careers out of it because they had clearly defined goals in mind when they went into college, and they laid out their objectives to achieve those goals. And they lived within their means, and they paid down their debts, and they paid their dues, and they put in the work and missed out on all the opportunities that many of their peers nearsightedly took advantage of because they weren't thinking about their future. There is no literature that explicitly states right now, to my knowledge, that there's going to be any form of repayment plan to recoup the losses that come about as a result of this loan forgiveness. What is there? Something like $1.7 billion worth of student loan debt in this country right now. I recently remember the Congress passing a $1.7 trillion. Did I say trillion or billion just now in student debt? I believe the number is trillion. $1.7 trillion of student debt owned in this country. And a stimulus and safety package of comparable numbers was just passed in Congress not too long ago, if I recall correctly. I could be misinformed. That's always possible. Why stop at 10 or 20,000? Why not forgive the whole thing? Seriously, what does it benefit anybody to have only $10,000 of their student loans forgiven? I don't have student loans. My wife does, but I don't. We have been diligently paying against her student loan debt balance, even throughout the moratoriums. The government says you don't need to make your payments on your student loans. Well, we've been continuing to make our payments because that's part of our budgeting plan. But for the majority of people, and I'm not even sure that it's going to affect my wife's student loan debt because she didn't actually go to a college. She went to a beauty school. She's a stylist, a cosmetologist, and I don't know if we're going to be able to reap any benefits from that. We will see. But for the people who have multiple tens of thousands of dollars in student debt, what's this going to do for them? How much is it going to really offset their cost of living in their daily lives? How much sooner are they going to be able to say that they've paid off their debt? What's the time frame for that look like? And what does that mean for the average taxpayer? Like I said, to my knowledge, there currently exists no legislation that there is a plan to recoup the losses accrued by this forgiveness plan. But nothing comes from nothing. You know, that is something that people who understand cause and effect understand, that nothing comes from nothing. You can't just leave a vacuum of debt unpaid. It's not how money works. That's not how finance works. That's not even how the value of goods and services works. You take out a loan from somebody that has enough money to give you a loan, you better be good and sure that loan is going to be paid back by somebody. To my knowledge, there aren't a lot of philanthropists out there that are willing to just hand out money under the premise that they will be paid back and decide, you know what? No, we're square. I'm forgiving your debt. There's only one person I know of that can forgive that much debt. If you know, you know. So is this a good thing? I can't really say. It's hard for me to judge what's really good and what's not good. Is it a useful thing? Perhaps. Is it a helpful thing? Probably. Is it a nearsighted thing? Potentially. I'm not an economist. I can't predict the outcomes of these types of things. I can only speculate. The only thing that I am sure of is that every action has consequences. Both physically, metaphysically, theoretically. Oh well. Anyway, I didn't really have anything very important to say today, so I'll leave you at that. So, chooch on, stay safe. Perhaps I'll see you around. Perhaps you'll see me. Take care.